person who can make choices is rich. If you can eat 2 square meals a day, you are rich. If you can send your children to school, you are rich. If you can actually have a home or you have a house, you have a roof on your head, you are rich. Now, whether your roof is actually a 1 bedroom house or a 500 room fortress, at least having a house is important, or having a home or having a roof is important. So my learning was that while I was told rich people are not nice and poor people are very nice, to my surprise, all poor people wanted to be rich. I got married, and while I was in the forest, my wife didn't find the forest as enchanting, so I was asked to look for a job outside. I went to IIM Ahmedabad, which is an institute in Gujarat, from the forest in Odisha, and for a brief while I did a research there, didn't like it, so I wanted to leave, and there was an opportunity to set up an incubator, and it was probably India's first incubator. I applied for the post of manager, they couldn't find a CEO, so I became the CEO. So at 26 years, 10 months, I was probably India's first incubator. I set up India's first incubator. Nobody in India knew anything about an incubator, including me. And to become the CEO and to run it was a challenge, a very respectful challenge, I would say. And being ignorant and being young and not being much aware was quite helpful. Next 3-4 years, I ran that incubator, became quite well versed with the whole process of incubation. We used to pick up innovations done by farmer, convert them into prototypes, then actually support them to commercialize, and expect some of these to become businesses. While I was doing all that, I came across this word constantly, that it is very difficult to find capital. And while I was going through, and because I was working with rural India and farmers, it was very evident and clear that if you are a rich person, people were willing to give money. And I got introduced to this whole idea that bankers are friends who are willing to offer you an umbrella when it is not raining. But the moment the first drop comes, they will take the umbrella back. So to actually raise money if you need it is a very difficult task. If you don't need it, people are willing to give you money. The other thing I realize is there are a lot of challenges. There are a lot of people with challenges, and those people required. So people needed jobs, people needed livelihoods, people needed capital, people needed healthcare, people needed education, and it was very limited. It was not available. Government was doing as much as it could, but there is a lot still left to be desired. And what was also very clear to me is a lot of business people were able to scale their businesses. And so one thing that came to my mind is, why is it that not-for-profits, at that point of time, not-for-profits or NGOs, which work on philanthropy, used to do all the good work. So if somebody is poor and he needs to be fed food, generally a not-for-profit will do it because they were kind-hearted folks. People who made money would actually not really see it. They will only focus on making money. So one idea was, how come those who actually build businesses, why don't they focus on creating jobs, creating livelihoods, solving problems, especially large problems like farmers don't have income, waste is all over the place, nobody wants to clean it. So can business folks solve these problems? These were complex problems, social problems, very large problems. And if they can solve it, they can probably build a very large successful business. So this was my whole thesis in 2001. I was 29 by that time. And I thought if I can find some people who are solving real problems but using business as a model, then I may be able to help them scale and solve all humanity problems. So that was one part of the thesis. The second part was, why do they not scale up? And the question was very evident to me, was that most of these people did not have access to capital. So if there was potentially money available which is willing to take risk, a lot of young Indians had the willingness and desire to use business to solve problems. So, and then I went around asking people, so how do you get money? And then people said, oh, rich people have money, but they don't want to give it to us. So in my own stupid very naive manner, I thought, why not convince rich people to give me money? And I will give money to these entrepreneurs who are trying to change the world. So in 2001, I quit my job. I had 5,000 rupees. I was in Ahmedabad, and I decided to come to Bombay to meet rich people. I was told rich people live in Mumbai. Email had arrived, so I started writing a lot of emails. And one of those emails reached a gentleman who lived in Singapore, was from IIM Ahmedabad. He's currently Chief Economic Advisor to the Prime Minister, but at that point of time, he was a banker in Singapore. And my emails used to say that I want to help people trying to transform India. And if you have money, give it to me, I'll give it to them. They will build businesses. Those businesses will transform lives. And once they transform lives, they will return the money to me and I will give it back to you. So Anand called me from Singapore and he said, you are saying I'll give you money, you will give it to somebody else, they will build a business, and once they become successful, you return it. I said, yes, theoretically, that's what I want to do. And so he said, come to Singapore. I didn't have the money to fly to Singapore, so he sent me a to and fro ticket. I went to Singapore, met some Indians in Singapore. And then my Aavishkar's journey started in 2001. Very simple idea, bring capital that people are willing to expect or take risks, very high risk. Some people called it venture capital, some people called it adventure capital. But I used this money to make investments into ideas that could transform lives. For example, somebody wanted to reduce I think most of you have seen LPG, but there is something called a stove, a kerosene stove, and a lot of poor people used to use kerosene. Kerosene was expensive, it was rationed. So how do you actually have a burner that reduces the consumption of kerosene? Similarly, somebody wanted to set up a dairy in very remote parts of India. Somebody wanted to set up a business to change agriculture, farmers' behavior, help farmer to actually earn more. So those kinds of businesses, whatever money they needed, I was willing to provide that money to them and then help them, work with them to scale their businesses up. So in 2001, while I started in India, there was a lady called Jacqueline Novogratz. She started in New York at the same time. Almost the same theory. I was actually saying that give me money, I will try to help entrepreneurs who will build business and I will return your money. Jacqueline was saying give me money as a grant and I will use this money to help entrepreneurs move forward. She was in New York, I was in India, and then there is a gentleman called Ronnie Cohen in London who also wanted to transform rural parts of England. And he started a business, but he said, I will actually impact lives by starting a business, by starting a fund that generates commercial returns. So we started in 3 different parts of the world, almost the same time, 2001, with the idea to help entrepreneurs scale the businesses while transforming lives. My personal struggle continued because I came from forest, did not know anything. Jacqueline was slightly smarter, better. She was in New York, so had access to more capital. And Ronnie Cohen was actually a very successful private equity venture capital person. So all of us came from different backgrounds, started at the same time. And over a period of we all followed different paths. Acumen, which is actually what Jacqueline started, has become a not-for-profit. Aavishkaar continues to be a for-profit fund. And Bridges Ventures is a successful private equity fund operating in Europe. Around 2007, some of us got together to analyze what we were doing and how is it different from mainstream venture capital. And in that discussion, we came up with a term called impact investing to define what we do. So just to explain to you, we said, is there a way all of us who are in the business of using capital to transform life by helping an entrepreneur, can we call ourselves by one single name? And the term impact, trying to deliver impact, make impact, seemed like a good initial word, and investing in any case we were doing. So the term impact investing was coined with the idea that this is investing that is done to generate and acknowledge. So basically we will stand up and say that we want to make a difference in the lives of the people by providing this capital, and this capital therefore has to stand scrutiny of not only the investment process but also how it reports impact.
Very beautiful. Thank you, Vineet. I was just reminiscing what started with technology as a disruptor for our masterclass. So glad that now, because of technology, someone from Brussels to someone in a village in Andhra Pradesh is able to listen to you, take inspiration, get educated, and carve his or her path ahead. Here's to all of us to reshape the face of India, because I think the responsibility lies on all of our shoulders. Thank you so much for shaping the India that you have done. And all of us, can we take a moment and give a warm round of applause for Vineet for being so patient with all of you, taking out time. Vineet, thank you so much for doing this. I know we have been having chats since quite some time to do this, and I'm so glad that it could come to fruition and take the shape that it took today.